Today, we're examining major U.S. cities that are on the decline and are likely to continue this trend into 2025. Welcome back, everyone. I appreciate you clicking on the video. Every year or two, we review places that are deteriorating, and to be honest, we've been fairly accurate so far. What defines a city as going downhill? It can be due to various factors, but three indicators commonly used by Americans are crime rates, cost of living, and traffic. The issue of homelessness is another factor, but it seems we saw the worst of that in 2022 and possibly 2023. Most cities are either maintaining or slightly improving, so in this video we'll focus on crime, cost of living, and traffic. Towards the end, there will be a question for you to answer in the comments. Got it? Good, let's dive in. Number 10, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. faces more issues than just the political drama on Capitol Hill. There are actual violent incidents in the streets because D.C. is notably violent. Its violent crime rate is 134% above the national average, though it dropped to 97% above in 2022. The city is beautiful, historic, expensive, and dangerous. A recent study found that the top reasons people leave D.C. are cost of living, followed by crime, and then work. Why will D.C. worsen in 2025? An increase in violent crimes such as homicides and assaults is a persistent trend. The city's crime rate remains high, particularly in certain neighborhoods. Additionally, the cost of living in D.C. is very high, with an average home price of $610,000 in 2023. The crime rate rose by 3% in 2023, and the cost of living increased by 2%. Number 9, Houston, Texas. Currently, Houston is considered the worst major city in Texas. Traffic is terrible. I experienced it firsthand in January, and the crime rate is soaring. This might be because the city is focusing more on shutting down massage parlors than on addressing violent crime. Houston has seen an increase in violent crimes, including homicides and robberies, with its crime rate surpassing the national average. While the cost of living in Houston is relatively low compared to cities like Los Angeles or New York, with an average home price of $271,000, traffic congestion is severe. Residents often spend over 50 minutes commuting daily due to Houston's sprawling layout and limited public transportation. The crime rate increased by 2.6% in 2023, and the cost of living rose by 2.9%. Number 8, Las Vegas, Nevada. This might seem surprising, but despite the city's growth and bustling hotels, residents face significant issues. Higher crime rates, rising living costs, and worsening traffic are the main problems. The influx of tourists leads to more jobs, but also more issues. Las Vegas has a notable crime problem, especially with violent crimes. The crime rate is higher than the national average, with assaults and robberies being common. Housing costs have sharply risen, with the average home price at $428,000, up 7.9% from 2022. Traffic, especially on the Strip and during peak tourist seasons, can be a nightmare, with commuters facing long delays. The crime rate increased by 3.3% in 2023, and the cost of living rose by 4%. Number 7, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Beyond the city's renowned history, cheesesteaks, sports culture, and impressive architecture, Philadelphia has significant problems. It suffers from bad neighborhoods, exacerbated by its proximity to Camden, New Jersey, a highly violent city. Camden's issues spill over into Philadelphia. To see the severity of Philadelphia's problems, check out Kensington on Google Maps. It's quite alarming. Philadelphia has seen a rise in violent crime, particularly gun violence, and the city's homicide rate continues to increase. While the cost of living is lower than in cities like New York and D.C., it's still rising, with the average home price reaching $225,000, up 2.5% from last year. Traffic congestion is worsening, with commuters spending over 40 minutes in traffic daily. The crime rate rose by 3.9% in 2023, and the cost of living went up by 0.9%. Number 6, Miami, Florida. Miami faces significant problems, especially with crime. A resident who left after 25 years cited severe crime and an increase in homelessness. The humidity has become unbearable, and the real estate market is extremely hot. Miami's crime rate, especially for violent crimes like homicides and assaults, is high. The cost of living is also steep, with average home prices at $587,000 and living costs 12% above the national average. Traffic is notoriously bad, with frequent gridlock. In 2023, the crime rate increased by 3.8%, and the cost of living rose by 4.2%, trends likely to continue in 2025. Number 5, Seattle, Washington. People are leaving Seattle not just because of the rain, but because living in the perpetual twilight isn't as charming as it sounds. The city's homelessness issue is relatively stable, but crime problems persist. Seattle has seen an increase in property crimes like burglaries and car thefts, along with rising violent crime. The cost of living in Seattle is among the highest in the country, with average home values around $869,000 and one-bedroom rents averaging $2,500 per month. Traffic is notoriously bad, with long commutes and frequent congestion. Despite efforts to improve, traffic remains problematic. In 2023, the crime rate increased by 3% and the cost of living rose by 4.4%. Number 4, New York City. New York is experiencing a decline where, well, even pigeons might consider moving to the suburbs. The city's charm is beginning to feel like an endurance test, with dodging delivery bikes and mysterious street puddles. New York's problems date back over 40 years, but they have worsened recently. Crime rates have fluctuated, with increases in assaults and robberies. While overall crime is lower than in the 70s and 80s, some areas remain dangerous. The cost of living in New York is extremely high, with average home values over $760,000 and rents exceeding $3,000 per month. Traffic is infamous for its congestion, with extensive but overcrowded public transportation. In 2023, the crime rate increased by 2.1%, and the cost of living rose by 5%. Number 3, Chicago, Illinois. Chicago faces numerous problems, particularly on the south side. Although the city is beautiful on the north end and the Loop, issues in the south and west sides impact the entire city. Chicago has one of the highest violent crime rates in the country, with frequent shootings and assaults. The cost of living, while lower than in cities like New York, is still high for the Midwest, with average home values over $300,000. Traffic is notoriously bad due to the city's aging infrastructure and ongoing construction. In 2023, the crime rate rose by 5%, and the cost of living increased by 4.2%. Number 2, Portland, Oregon. Even though Portland is making some progress in addressing homelessness, the city is still struggling with high crime rates, rising housing costs, and overall living expenses. The crime rate, especially property crime and vandalism, has increased significantly, partly due to the growing homelessness crisis. The cost of living is high, with average home values around $538,000. Although traffic isn't terrible, it is worsening. In 2023, Portland saw its crime rate increase by 5.5%, and the cost of living rise by 1.1%. Number 1, Los Angeles. Back to my two home cities, Los Angeles, where I grew up, and Portland, where I currently live. Recently, Los Angeles has seen a decline in several areas, including crime, cost of living, and traffic, while its livability score is decreasing. Despite the city's glamorous reputation from movies, Los Angeles is not as violent compared to cities like Detroit or St. Louis, but crime is on the rise. The city has experienced an increase in both violent and property crime, with certain neighborhoods becoming more dangerous. The cost of living is sky high, with average home values at $956,000 and rents at $2,800 per month for a one-bedroom. Traffic in Los Angeles is notoriously chaotic, consistently ranking among the worst in the country. In 2023, the crime rate increased by 5.7%, and the cost of living rose by 4.9%. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, you might like one of the 2 videos suggested now. Clicking on another video really supports the channel. Have a great day and be kind to one another.